Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is Tsunami, and we got a big one today. So, if you saw the title of the video, obviously, Elon Musk said fuck you. Now, this isn't anything new. I understand. This is Elon Musk we're talking about. But you have to understand where he said fuck you. Now, the New York Times, a publicated syndication, is that what they call it? A newspaper, essentially. The New York Times is a newspaper, but they're a very big business, and they host something called the DealBook Summit. And at this summit, a lot of powerful people come, and they explain everything from business to culture, politics, whatever you name it, right? Whatever their specialty is, whatever the forum host, who in this case is Andrew Ross Sorkin, whatever they want to talk about, that's what's going to be talked about, right? And it's the New York Times, so you have to assume there's going to be a professionalism to it. Now, let's talk about some of the people that were attending. We had Camilla Harris, VP of America, Vice President. Tsai Ing-wen, the President of Taiwan. Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the U.S. House, and he's the guy that he's the guy that got voted in unprecedentedly with so many votes just to get him in. And then he got so many votes. He got one vote just to get him out. So it's not good. We got Bob Iger, CEO of Walt Disney. You got Jamie Dimon, Chairman and CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase & Co. You got Lina M. Khan, the Chair of the Federal Trade Commission. Oh, geez, the FTC. And then you got Shonda Rhimes, television creator, producer, author, and CEO of Shondaland. So I'm not familiar with Shondaland, but it's a pretty all-star cast. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some powerful people with, voices that want to be heard. And obviously, I didn't mention Elon Musk, but you already know him, CEO of Tesla, Chief Engineer of SpaceX, and CTO, the Chief Technical Officer of X, or formerly known as Twitter. Now, why did he say fuck you? What could have possessed Elon to say these words at a place with so many, not just powerful people, but there's people in the audience as well? Hold on, before we even say anything, let's just play the clip. Play the clip.
What was that trip like? And obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself.
But
Go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
Okay, and as you heard, he directly said that fuck you to Bob Iger, who I recently mentioned is the CEO of Walt Disney. Now, why is this important? Let me give you some context. Elon, around the time Ye was making anti-Semitic tweets, and I guess around the time Elon first became the CTO of X, a lot of things were being said online. A lot of racist tweets were coming out from Ye, as well as Trump, right? So it was a battle zone for a little bit. But recently, Elon made some racist tweets as well. Let me see if I can pull these up right here. It first started with this one tweet dubbed, how did they dub it? The actual truth. To the cowards hiding behind anonymity of the internet and posting Hitler was right. You got something you want to say? Why don't you say it to our faces? And this is coming from a Jewish conservative from South Florida. So let's decide. He's Jewish, but he's also a conservative. The conservative part, honestly, I don't think it matters. Let's watch the video and see what's up.
I saw what you've been posting. Hitler was right. I didn't teach you that. You hide behind your screen, spewing all this hatred and ugliness. You got something you want to say? Get out of the truck and say it to their faces.
$70,000 times last year? I'm sure it was more. I'm sure it was more. But okay, so that was some pretty powerful stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that elicited some heartfelt emotions in me. Like, my heartstrings were actually being tugged. And I was like, yeah, of course. I 100% stand by this message. It's why? Humans. You know? I get it. I get it. It's not trolling or anything. It's just real hate. So I get it. I get it. However, the issue does come in the responses. Now, I think the big response... yes. It was from this guy. The artist formerly known as Eric. Breaking Bot. So this is the response, as you can see, that got the Elon response. Okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialect hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face? There it is. And, you know, you hear that, you're like, damn, white power, right? Very, white supremacist, which is very crazy. And do I believe that's the same dialect Jewish communities have been doing? If it has, hey, show me the proof, because I've honestly never seen it. I just see a lot of white supremacist stuff. And honestly, I'll admit, I see a lot of black supremacy stuff. But in terms of the Jewish supremacy, except what you're seeing in Israel right now, I don't see it. But the issue is right here. You have said the actual truth. And it's from this tweet that sparked just a bunch of other tweets. And it's these tweets that caused advertisers to stop their campaigns. Musk wrote another tweet after the actual truth tweet saying, I am deeply offended by ADL's messaging and any other groups who push de facto anti-white racism or anti-Asian racism or racism of any kind. And he's so offended that he wants to sue them over the accounting of this, his hate speech. And honestly, I'm just not sure. Let me see. Like, he's like, as the title says, he's upset because of the loss of revenue, and he blames the ADL because of it. Quoting, since the acquisition, the ADL has been trying to kill the platform by falsely securing it and me of being anti-Semitic. He also goes on to say, to clear our platform's name on the matter of anti-Semitism, it looks like we have no choice but to file a defamation lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League. Oh, the irony. So he says all this, obviously very upset about it. But when you have tweets like, everyone is allowed to be proud of their race, except for white people, because we've been brainwashed into believing that our history was somehow worse than other races. This false narrative must die. He's strongly quoting that it's just lies. Anyone that says anything about white supremacy in that sense. And the reason why people are upset about it is because it's very similar to white supremacist theories. It's not as if he's saying this just out of his ass. He's saying it in correlation to other white supremacists, including Nick Fuentes and such.
Yeah, for him to disavow white supremacy is very cucked and blue-pilled. You know, totally wrong and a big mistake. I get, you know, there's a lot of pressure on him right now. There's a lot of calls for him to disavow the stuff, even from his own side. Sorry for the language, but, you know, really, Dinesh D'Souza is going to roll up to our shore from India, from smelly, open defecation India, and he's going to tell us that Robert E. Lee was a racist and our ancestors were villains, as long as they were Democrats, you know. So Dinesh D'Souza can go to hell, and all these people can. So I understand that President Trump is under a lot of pressure. Whew, a little hot. He's under a little bit of a gamer moment there. Yeah, we just can't do that. We can't play this game of, I disavow white supremacy. And notice how the claws come out. All these pussies, frankly. And again, sorry for the language, but that's what it is. People like, who's this Matt Walsh guy? Total pussy. And, you know, he's always like this. And when a white person does a shooting, suddenly he's a big tough guy. I think these white racist scumbags should get public executions, and we should hang them and be brutal. That's the only thing that's going to stop these people. Yeah, you're a real tough guy. You're a real fucking tough guy, you know. Sorry for the language. Disavow the language, but, you know, that's what it is, these people. It's a very latent hatred for their own people, for white people, if it's not their own people. You know? Matt Walsh, Shabbos Goy, race traitor. That's what it is, folks. I know some people don't like to use that expression, but it's totally true. Throwing his own people under the bus. He hates white people. Nobody else talks like that about their own people except for white people, and it's gross. Race traitor. You work for Jews, you know?
You know, I didn't even know. I mean, I knew he said that he was going to step down and not be CEO, but I didn't even know that about her. Linda Yaccarino. I saw her tweet. I didn't know who she was at first, but I remember. X's point of view has always been very clear that discrimination by everyone should stop across the board. I think that's something we can and should all agree on. When it comes to this platform, X has been extremely clear about our efforts to combat anti-Semitism and discrimination. There's no place for it anywhere in the world. It's ugly and wrong. Full stop. I appreciate that she's trying her best to minimize the damage that her CTO is doing. And isn't that something that the CTO has more sway, has more power, has more influence than the CEO? Like, we're worried about the chief technical officer. Elon's a mess, man. So this is important to note. Since Musk started being at X, advertisers are obviously spending less. He's, if you remember, cut down a huge amount of staff. They say it's like, what, less than 50%? Damn. And regulators are upset and obviously circulating, so it's not good for X, formerly known as Twitter. It's not good at all. And apparently IBM recently suspended another advertiser. They suspended all advertising on X. And let me actually say who the advertisers were, the big ones. It was IBM, it was Disney, and it was also Apple. Right? Those are some big names to say, oh, I don't wanna spend money on your platform anymore, you know? And when you have big names like that, it's obviously gonna hurt. It's obviously gonna hurt. Think about just Disney. Disney has Marvel, Disney has Star Wars, Disney has Disney. Apple has, you know what Apple has. Apple has half of the technological world in its hands, or at least a huge portion of it. You know, so you lose people like this, it's gonna hurt your business. And I'm pretty sure. You see how right here, apparently, their content, their ads was being placed next to anti-Semitic advertising, which was giving obviously the wrong subliminal messaging. So IBM left because of that. Apple left. I'm sure Oracle's going to leave, which is the Java company, right? And Comcast, there's no way they stay. I don't know about these two, but these two are gone. And then IBM had a statement saying that they have zero tolerance for hate speech and discrimination, and they have immediately suspended all advertising. So it's not looking good for Elon at all. So that's why he's upset, and it's understandable why he said fuck you to Bob Iger. Now, would I have said that on a public stage when I'm trying to impress people so I can, get those advertisers back, or at least retain the ones I have? No, I probably would not. But, Elon's a man that transcends human understanding. He is. So it would be disrespectful for me to say that I understand what he's saying. I don't. Got no clue. But, yeah. So that's essentially what happened. But I want to play Bob Iger's explanation on why he left.
He said, "I have a lot of respect for Elon and what he has accomplished. We know that Elon is larger than life in many respects, and that his name is very much connected to the companies he founded or owns. By him taking the position he took in a public manner, we felt that the association was not necessarily a positive one for us." Disney was among several major advertisers.
I mean, that's fair. Analyze the words, though, right? You can tell he's a businessman. First of all, gives respect to Elon, even if he doesn't like him at all. He's trying to say that Elon is, he's a big personality, a big man, still trying to play up to what he is, right? And he's saying that his name is very much connected to the companies he's founded. Now, that's not a positive or a negative statement. You can make your own conclusions. For me, they're negative. But it's like, you know, Elon's relevant. We're aware he's relevant. So I have to respect him. That's how I read that statement.
What he has accomplished.
All right. And then you go to the next statement. This really is the nail. Because of what he did publicly, we realize that we can't fuck with this guy anymore. That's how that read to me. Because it's not going to be positive for us. So he's hurting. There's no way he's not hurting. So, barring this screw up that he made, let's see. What else did Elon have to say at this summit that would interest fellow investors into his company, into X, right? Let's see. I'm truly curious. Because the biggest thing about X, I feel like why it's different than his other ventures, is because the money he spent, he felt that he got it at a loss. Like he believes he spent way too much at X. He didn't even want Twitter at a certain point, but he was forced into the deal. So he's took Twitter with a very angry mindset. And that angry mindset is causing him to lose a lot of money. So let's see how he responds. What he says. What is he telling us?
And specifically, the government put in place lots of policies, as you know, to try to encourage more EVs. And one of the things that's happened uniquely is you have now a lot of car companies saying, actually, this is too ambitious for us. These plans are too ambitious. 4,000 dealers, I don't know if you saw just yesterday, sent a letter to the White House saying, this has gone too far. You're going too far. You had this
anti-EV?
This is going too fast, too far, and that there's not enough demand. Underneath all of this is this idea that maybe there's not enough demand for EVs, that the American public has not bought into they bought into it with your company, but they haven't bought into it broadly enough.
Well, I think if you make a compelling electric car, people will buy it, no question about it. Electric car sales in China are gigantic. That's by far the biggest category.
Right.
And I think that would be the case, it's worth noting, so probably the best refutation of that is that the Tesla Model Y will be the best-selling car of any kind on Earth this year. Of any kind, gasoline or otherwise.
Is there another car company that you think is doing a good job with EVs?
I think the Chinese car companies are extremely competitive. By far our toughest competition is in China. So, there's a lot of people who out there who think that the top 10 car companies are going to be Tesla, followed by 9 Chinese car companies. I think they might not be wrong. So China is super good at manufacturing, and the work ethic is incredible. So, if we consider different leagues of competitiveness at Tesla, we consider the Chinese league to be the most competitive. And by the way, we do very well in China, because our China team is the best China.
How worried are you that the unionization effort that just took place I shouldn't say effort, but the new wages and the like at GM and Ford, that they're coming for you? And they are coming for you. What is that going to mean to you and your business?
Well, I think it's generally not good to have an adversarial relationship between people on the line, one group at the company and another group. In fact, I disagree with the idea of unions, but perhaps for a reason that is different than people may expect, which is I just don't like anything which creates kind of a lords and peasants sort of thing. And I think the unions naturally try to create negativity in a company and create a sort of lords and peasants situation. There are many people at Tesla who have gone from working on the line to being in senior management. There is no lords and peasants. Everyone eats at the same table. Everyone parks in the same parking lot. At GM, there's a special elevator only for senior executives. We have no such thing at Tesla. And the thing is that I actually know the people on the line because I worked on the line, and I walked the line, and I slept in the factory, and I worked beside them. So I'm no stranger to them. And there are actually many times where I've said, well, can't we just hold a union vote? But apparently a company is not allowed to hold a union vote. So it has to be somehow called for, but the unions can't do it. So I said, well, let's just hold a vote and see what happens. The actual problem is the opposite. It's not that people are trapped at Tesla building cars. The challenge is how do we retain great people to do the hard work of building cars when they have like 6 other opportunities that they can do that are easier. That's the actual difficulty, is that building cars is hard work, and there are much easier jobs. And I just want to say that I'm incredibly appreciative of those who build cars, and they know it. So there's I don't know, maybe there will be unionized. If I say, like, if Tesla gets unionized, it will be because we deserve it and we failed in some way. But we certainly try hard to, ensure the prosperity of everyone. We give everyone stock options. We've made many people who are just working the line, who didn't even know what stocks were, we've made them millionaires.
Okay, so I don't know how much truth is in that last statement about making them millionaires. We probably did. But the 2 main points I wanted to talk about was the Tesla Model Y. He said it was the top-selling car of all time. When people say all time, right, it's such an absolutist statement, because what does it really mean to be all time? All time from where? What's your starting point? Because your end point's obviously now, but where do you start? So this article, right, it kind of does glaze that the Tesla Model Y is the best-selling car in the world. Okay, it says that. But it also says that for the first time, the best-selling car in the world is electric. But as of writing in July 2023, the Tesla Model Y has edged out the Toyota Corolla for the top spot in new car sales worldwide. Now, if you're talking about, like, how are they measuring? Look how they're measuring. The Model Y was the world's bestseller in both the first and second quarter of 2023. Okay, and that's fine. You can say that. You can say a stat like that, talk about a relevant year, which is 2023, which is, obvious, and then make that work. That's fine. But the way Elon said it, he made it seem as if, oh, it's the best-selling car of all time, of the since its conception, and forever. That's how he made it sound, and I get it. You want to appeal to the advertisers, but it's a lie. It's a mission. And he also said he doesn't like unions because he's not a fan of the lord and peasant vibes. A union isn't supposed to be like a lord and peasants thing. Now, I agree. There's obviously a lot more people in a union versus the people that are the head of the company, the board of a company, right? But within that mass of people, they talk, they communicate, and they all collectively have the same thoughts about what should be done for the company. And then they present that, usually a forerunner or the leader of said organization will communicate that to the board, right? And that one singular person, or maybe it's a group, I don't know how they communicate to a board, right? But assuming it's one person, that one person has the weight of hundreds, if not thousands of people behind them. So I wouldn't call it a lords and peasants situation. No. I would call it 2 equal bodies communicating. Because ultimately, they're both making money together. But some may be happy about how conditions are, and some may not. That's why they can communicate in such a way. You can't just have one employee complain to a board about what the hell is happening. You need everyone, or at least a mass majority of people, to agree with you to convince those few people in power, hey, something's happening. So that's just my thoughts on that, though. I mean, Elon can think whatever the hell he wants. And on that note, let's see another thing that he thinks.
You've devoted at least the last close to 20 years of your life, if not more, to the climate change, trying to get Tesla off the ground, in part to improve climate. You talked about that.
Yeah, a real right-wing motive.
Repeatedly.
God, far right, if anything.
I understand that. And then it's
right. Reverse psychology next level.
Well, no, but so here's then the question, which is how do you square the support that you have given? I believe you were at a fundraiser for Vivek Ramaswamy, for example, who says that the climate issue is a hoax. right?
Yeah, I disagree with him on that.
But I would think that would be such a singular issue for you. I would think that the climate issue would be such a singular issue for you that actually it would disqualify almost anybody who didn't take that issue seriously.
Well, I haven't endorsed anyone for president. I mean, I wanted to hear what Vivek had to say, because I think some of his things some of the things he says, I think, are pretty solid. You know, he's concerned about government overreach, about government control of information. The degree to which old Twitter was basically a sock puppet of the government was ridiculous. So, you know, it seems to me that there's a very severe violation of the First Amendment in terms of how much government control, how much control the government had over old Twitter, and it no longer does. So, you know, there's a reason for the First Amendment. The reason for the First Amendment for freedom of speech is because the people that immigrated to this country came from places where there was not freedom of speech, and they were like, you know what, we got to make sure that that's constitutional, because where they came from, if they said something, they'd be put in prison, or there'd be, you know, something bad would happen to them. So, and freedom of speech, you have to say, when is it relevant? It's only relevant when someone you don't like can say something you don't like, or it has no meaning. And as soon as you sort of, you know, throw in the towel and concede to censorship, it is only a matter of time before someone censors you. And that is why we have the First Amendment.
Could you see yourself voting for President Biden? If it's a Biden-Trump election, for example?
I think I would not vote for Biden.
You'd vote for Trump?
I'm not saying I'd vote for Trump, but I mean, this is definitely a difficult choice here. You know,
would you vote for Nikki Haley? Nikki Haley, by the way, wants all social media names to be exposed, as you know.
No, I think that's outrageous. Yeah, no, I'm not going to vote for some pro-censorship candidate.
I don't have really too much to say on this one. I don't really know if Elon's much about climate change. I'm pretty sure just getting the lithium batteries itself causes a lot of harm to the atmosphere. But if he said it was a hoax, while also, you know, being upset that he wasn't invited to the DC or the White House EV summit, then, you know, come on, bro. Your actions have consequences. And I guess that also leads to my next point. The First Amendment, okay, it exists. I agree. You can say what you want, whatever. It's just like, there's going to be a consequence. Every action has a very equal or separate reaction. All right, you're gonna get pushback. There's going to be a consequence. Now, whether that consequence suits you, or doesn't affect you, that just depends on how it is and how you feel. But to be upset that you say certain things, you get called out for it, and then you get hurt because of it, and then be like, oh, this is why I need my law. Where's the law? That's why I'm American. I need my law to come and save me. Like, come on, bro. Why can't you just take responsibility? You don't need a law to protect you. Accept it. Just accept that you fucked up, and this is what happens when you fuck up. You like, the law shouldn't protect you to be a piece of shit. It just shouldn't.
You're really going to host Elon Musk here? Can you believe what he just said on Twitter? On X. On X.
Yeah. So no idea what this Twitter thing is you keep talking about.
Should you platform him? That's what they said.
Yeah.
Should you platform him? And I said that I think that it's our role, and I know you have issues with journalists.
I have a platform.
I know you have an issue with journalists oftentimes, but I said it's our role to have conversations and to inquire and and sometimes even interrogate ideas. And
sure.
I'm hoping we can do that. So I want to start just so we can begin this conversation and just level set. Take us through everything that happened, if you could.
Everything?
No, over the past week and a half.
How long have you got?
We've got the time.
Okay.
You send out a post or an X or a tweet.
Yeah,
I don't know what you want to
whatever,
describe
yeah.
it as.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to change, like, when things were just 140 characters, it made sense to call them a tweet, because there's like a bunch of little birds chirping. But when, the point at which you can put like 3-hour videos on, it's like, it's a very long tweet.
So here we are.
Post is more descriptive, I think.
And at some point, I don't know where you were, but you write in responding to another tweet.
Yes.
This is the actual truth. And it set off a firestorm of criticism all the way to the White House.
Right.
And then you make this trip to Israel. You have advertisers who've left the platform. People calling you.
Well, the trip to Israel is independent of it wasn't some like apology tour. I want to be clear. That was.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So just take us back to the moment at which you write that.
Trip to Israel is independent of. It wasn't like in response to that at all.
Well, we'll do Israel in just a moment.
And I have no problem being hated, by the way.
I hear
Hate
you.
away.
Well, but you know what? Let's go straight to that then for a second.
Sure.
Because there is an idea, and you could say that
I think
you
it's a
don't
real
care.
weakness to want to be liked. A real weakness. And I do not have that.
Okay, so there wasn't really much to write down there. I already explained the tweet situation, but you don't have to be liked, but you should always be respected. If you got people under you, people working for you, people helping you essentially be rich or stay rich, right? You gotta respect them. I don't see how not respecting them is gonna help you out, but whatever. Whatever.
Interesting IP issue, which I think is actually something I can say as somebody who's in the creator business and journalistic business and whatnot, or care about copyright. So one of the things about training on data has been this idea that you're not going to train, or that these things are not being trained on people's copyrighted information. Historically, that's been the concept.
Yeah, that's a huge lie.
Say that again?
Yes, these AIs are all trained on copyrighted data, obviously.
So you think it's a lie when OpenAI says that this is not, none of these guys say they're training on copyrighted data?
That's a lie.
It's a lie, straight up.
It's a straight up lie.
Okay.
100%.
So then,
Obviously, it's been trained on copyrighted data.
okay, so let me ask you a second question, which is all of the people who have been uploading,
I mean, it's like one every minute here.
all of the people who have been uploading articles, the best quotes from different articles, videos to X, all of that can be trained on. And it's interesting because people put all of that there, and those quotes have historically been considered fair use, right? People are putting those quotes up there. And individually, on a fair use basis, you'd say, okay, that makes sense. But now there are people who do threads, and by the way, there may be multiple people who've done an article that has 1,000 words. Technically, all 1,000 words could have made it onto X somehow. And effectively, now you have this remarkable repository. And I wonder how you think about that, again, and how you think the creative community and those who were the original IP owners should think about that.
I don't know, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have Digital God. So ask Digital God at that point. These lawsuits won't be decided before on a time frame that is relevant.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think we live, there's that, I don't know if it's actually a real Chinese saying or not, but may you live in interesting times.
Right.
It's apparently not a good thing. But I would prefer to, personally, I would prefer to live in interesting times. And we live in the most interesting of times. I think, and for a while there, I was like really getting demotivated and losing sleep over the threat of AI danger. And then I finally sort of became fatalistic about it and said, well, even if I knew annihilation was certain, would I choose to be alive at that time or not? And I said I probably would choose to be alive at that time because it's the most interesting thing, even if there's nothing I could do about it. So then basically sort of a fatalistic resignation helped me sleep at night because I was having trouble sleeping at night because of AI danger. Now, what to do about it? I mean, I've been the biggest, the one banging the drum the hardest, by far the longest, or at least one of the longest for AI danger, and these regulatory things that are happening. The single biggest reason they're happening is because of me.
Okay, so that was a huge non-answer, and honestly, if you can make out what he said, decipher it for me, because that was Anyway, if I want to give an answer though about if AI is using copyrighted data and whether there's an issue with that, I will say it's true that there is like a repository of just fair use content, because everything on Twitter can be used. I mean, maybe not porn, but anything else can be used for content on YouTube. Well, not porn and violence. You know, anything that doesn't break TOS, essentially. It could all be considered fair use. Honestly, most things on Twitter is considered fair use. Not only Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, right? That's because it's posted by another person who's posting it, and then you're giving commentary or you're reacting to it. You're changing it. You're transforming it, and the comments that are received also transforms it. So because of all those transformations, that's why fair use can't really be applied. So when it comes to lawsuits on that, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I mean, it shouldn't be an issue. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Now, for the fear of whether it's using copyrighted data or not, I mean, I don't think it is. I couldn't tell you if they are. I don't know what copyrighted data they would be using, because to me it seems like because I have ChatGPT Premium, right? I see whenever I search something, they're actually going to Google or going to Bing or whatever, and they're searching through the web. And I always get quotes and references and stuff like that, so it's not as if there's no citation involved. So I don't know, personally. I disagree with that statement.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
Why?
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda
no,
Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. No. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
Okay, this goes back to
we'll both make our cases,
right,
and we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott, and that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
What do you think then of the? Again, this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone, and it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, and I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be.
The judge is the public.
So I don't. Why does Elon have so much faith that the public's on his side? The public's very against him. He's killing the company. If he has people on his platform, right, and he's the CTO, or really let's just say he's the owner. He's the owner. You have advertisers of different races, companies, cultural backgrounds. I said that already. You have people of different factors coming into your company, right? Not really as a safe haven from it, but as a place where they can be accepted. Because in life, you can't accept the hate, unfortunately, but you can do your best to promote a place where there should be no hate at the very least. If you have the owner of that company spouting off that same hatred that you're trying to get away from, why would you waste your time advertising on a platform? No, seriously, why would you waste your time advertising on that platform when it goes against your views? Don't get me wrong, business is business, but that business was made by an individual, right? That business is started by, and business is ran by an individual person, or a board at the very least, right? And those individuals have to appease, or at least show respect to, the individuals that essentially pay their paychecks. So if you are spouting off this anti-Semitic, this anti-Jewish hatred, and expect people to stand with you, and expect the public to be like, oh well, it's the advertisers, even though it was Elon's words, it was really the advertisers for being too soy. Like, come on, you can't. Come on, nah, crazy. Okay, in minor context, before we start this one, they're talking about Neuralink, another company that Elon's a part of. I think they put chips in monkeys, and the monkeys died. So if they're ready to do human trials, I don't know.
How far away do you think from that, and how excited or scary does that seem to be? And we read these headlines, obviously, about monkeys who died, as you know.
There you go.
What should we think about that?
Actually, the USDA inspector who came by the Neuralink facilities literally said in her entire career she has never seen a better animal care facility. We are the nicest to animals that you could possibly be, even to the rats and mice, even though they did the plague and everything. It is like monkey paradise. The thing that gets conflated is that there were some terminal monkeys where, this is actually several years ago, where the monkeys were about to die. And we're like, okay, we've got an experimental device. It's the kind of thing we should only put on a monkey that's about to die. And then, now the monkey died, but it didn't die because of the Neuralink. It died because it was, had a terminal case of cancer or something like that. So, Neuralink has never caused the death of a monkey. It's the best, unless they're hiding something from me, it has never caused the death of a monkey. And in fact, we've now had monkeys with Neuralink implants for like 2-3 years, and they're doing great. So, and we've even replaced the Neuralink twice, and we're getting ready to do the first implants hopefully in a few months. The early implementations of Neuralink, I think, are unequivocally good. Speaking of the double-edged sword, I think these early implementations are single-edged sword, because the first implementations will be to enable people who have lost the brain-body connection to be able to operate a computer or a phone faster than someone who has hands that work. So you can imagine if Stephen Hawking could communicate faster than someone who had full body functionality, how incredible that would be. Well, that's what this device will do. And we should have proof of that in a human, hopefully in a few months. It already works in monkeys and works quite well with monkeys that can play video games just by thinking. So then the next application after the sort of those, dealing with tetraplegics and quadriplegics is going to be vision. Vision is the next thing. So it's like if somebody has lost both eyes, or the optic nerve has failed, basically where they have no possibility of having sort of some ocular correction, that will be the next thing for Neuralink, is a direct vision interface. And in fact, then you could be like Geordi LaForge from Star Trek. You could see in like any frequency, actually. You could see in radar if you want.
Ooh. Monkey paradise. It's one thing to be an excellent animal care facility. That's one thing. Okay, that's fine. It's another thing to be a successful company that is able to create a neural link that goes into the spinal cord of an organism and it survives. That's a totally different thing. So I don't know about it, and I never. See, I was about to do it. I'm about to do what I'm about to say. I don't like to trust people that use absolutist statements fervently. Because when you do so, you deny all possibilities of failure. And I'm not saying you should move in failure. You should always move towards success. But you should never be delusional. And when you say these absolute statements, at a certain point, it's very delusional. You're overconfident in the abilities. You don't think that outside. Let's just forget about just internal factors that actually could be the issue. You're so confident that even outside factors can't mess up what's going to happen. You don't know that. You don't know that. So it's always safer to not use an absolute statement like that. But when he said terminal case of cancer or something like that when describing the monkeys that died, I instantly had to write in big ass letters, "Don't trust Elon." You understand? Just don't trust Elon. Like, come on. That is if you want to get this Neuralink, because the concept sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want to have, if you're blind, a Neuralink go into the back and then hear you, right? That'd be excellent. But guess what? Mr. Beast also did that. He cured 100 blind people. You don't need a Neuralink for that. While Neuralink would be cutting edge technology, there's too many risks. There's a scary man at the helm, and there's so much uncertainty. You're better off. You're better off just not trusting him. I understand the need and the desire, but this is one man you should not trust. I promise you, there are better. There have to be better, because Elon is not a trustworthy man. Oh God. But anyhow, that's it. That's all I wanted to say about the topic. I saw it yesterday, and I wanted to do it after work, but I was just tired, and it's tough. You know? So help your boy out. Subscribe to the channel. Get me out of here. Make me a working man for you. And let's just vibe out. Thank you again for watching. This is Tsunami, and we're shining out. Peace.